Hey guys, welcome back to another video of Frosty Explain, and this is the series what if as Masters Legendary. So we are going to the Rasboro city, and I'm not actually talking about this episode, but I'm asking you on opinion. What will actually happen if as face the real battle frontier? Matlab, you know what actually happened, right? They notify them a lot, really, and I really want to see what actually Ash can do when he face real legendaries of battle frontier. I mean, animal doesn't has her anti, and like this many of the characters are way too nullify. So I want to search a good fanfic, or if you have suggestion on that, just give me the link on the description, or you can send it to my Insta account. I will surely check that out and make the series. But before that, let's begin today's episode.
Flying across the ocean was our hero Ash Ketchum. His trusty Pikachu resting on his shoulder enjoying the sights, and underneath him was his faithful Latios giving Ash a ride to hone. Latios, Ash called, getting the beautiful dragon's attention. How are you holding up? Do you need a rest? No, I'm just fine, Latios answered, thanks for asking. I could probably go on like this for another 3 hours. Ash nodded. All right. Oh, by the way, did you find out what my mom was doing with Latios? Latios laughed. Oh, I found out all right. It turns out Latios likes gardening a lot. She was paying rapt attention while your mom demonstrated every single tool and the properties it did. It was hilarious to watch. Ash chuckled. I bet Latios didn't like being laughed at. Latios kept chuckling. No, she did not, and I recommend, for your health, that you do not make fun of her for it. Message received, Ash said. Ash reached into his backpack and pulled out the map. Alright, according to this map, Little Uru town is about 20 miles away. Good thing Latios can fly faster than a jet plane, or we wouldn't be there until tomorrow, eh, Pikachu? Pikachu agreed. They kept flying through the area, and Ash was staring out into the ocean. It was massive and he could see some Pokémon swimming under the surface, but he couldn't see them accurately because of them being too far underwater. After about an hour more of flying, Ash saw a city coming up. There it is, Ash called, it's Little Uru town. Latios went in for a landing towards the docks, and none of them were exactly being discreet. People and Pokémon trainers stared in shock as Latios descended and hovered just above the docks. Ash hopped off and petted Latios. Thanks for the ride, Latios. Take a nice long rest. Ash recalled Latios to the Pokeball, and Ash walked off the docks completely oblivious to the stares he was receiving. As Ash left the docks and continued into the city, someone called out, hold up there. Ash stopped and turned around to see a trainer about his age with shoulder-length blue wavy hair wearing a blue shirt and black shorts. Was that a Latios you were riding there? Yeah, why? Ash asked. Where exactly are you from? The kid asked, ignoring Ash's question. Pallet Town in the Kanto region, Ash answered. Why? And how exactly did someone from Pallet manage to capture the legendary Latios? The kid asked, continuing to ignore Ash's question. Ash got annoyed now. Look, what does it matter to you? Their conversation was beginning to draw a crowd. It does matter to me because some trainer from Kanto managed to capture a legendary Pokémon from Hone, the kid said, Kanto, with a tone of disgust. Ash was getting really annoyed now. Who cares what region Latios is from? I do, the kid answered. He then took up a lofty tone. My name is Sid and I'm going to capture all the legendary Pokémon in every region one way or another. Now let's battle now, and if I win you must hand your Latios over to me. Ash's eyes widened in anger. You're nuts, kid. There's no way I'm gonna bet Latios over something as stupid as this. Ash began to walk away. Oh, I see, then you're chicken, Sid said mockingly. Pathetic. How a Latios can go with a pathetic trainer like you who backs down from a match. How disappointing. If I was Laish's trainer, I would never back down from any challenge. Ash was really mad now. Fine. You want a match, then let's go. Choose your Pokémon. Very well, Sid smirked. Blaziken, let's go. Out came the massive flame Pokémon that Ash had already faced before. Latios, I choose you, Ash called, sending out Latios. Latios appeared with a coot and hovered in front of Ash. What's going on, Ash? Latios asked, noticing the Blaziken in front of him. Read that kid's mind, Ash thought darkly, knowing Latios could read his mind. Latios did read the kid's mind, and Latios' eyes widened in anger. So this little insect thinks he can take me from you? Well, Latios said in a tone darker than Ash's, well, let's see him try it. Blaziken, use fire punch, Sid shouted. Blaziken's fist ignited with flames and it charged at Latios. Safeguard, Ash thought. Latios heard him and put up a guard around himself. Blaziken's fire punch hit Latios head on, but the safeguard was so powerful that it made Blaziken fly back from the backlash. Good, now use dragon breath. Latios opened his mouth and launched green energy in the shape of breath fumes towards Blaziken, and it hit dead on, causing Blaziken massive damage. Finish it with Dragon Rush. Latios' body glowed and Latios charged at Blaziken and hit it hard, knocking it out cold. Sid growled when he saw Blaziken out cold. Blaziken return, he grunted. He pulled out his next Pokeball. Swallow, I choose you. Out came a massive raven-colored bird with a red belly. Swallow, use aerial ace. Swallow cried out and charged at Latios. Steel Wing, Ash thought. Latios' wing glowed brightly, and once Swallow got in close enough, Latios hit it hard with Steel Wing right in the head. Swallow fell to the ground out cold with swirls in its eyes. Sid growled loudly and returned his Swallow. How are you having Latios attack without saying anything? Latios is part psychic, so as long as I think my attack and strategy, then Latios can hear them, Ash said, smirking. Which means I can't predict what attacks he'll use, Sid said, and then he growled again and pulled out 4 Pokeballs. Go Mightyena, Breloom, Camerupt, and Seviper. All 4 Pokemon came out in 4 separate flashes. Immediately the crowd began roaring at unfairness, but the 2 trainers ignored them. All of you go and take down that Latios, Sid roared. All 4 Pokemon gave a roar and charged at Latios. Luster Purge now, Ash thought calmly. Latios opened his mouth and charged up his signature attack. Swirling purple energy built up in a ball form, and then Latios launched it from its mouth and it struck all 4 Pokemon. When the explosion cleared, it showed all 4 Pokemon out cold with swirls in their eyes. Sid gaped in shock. This can't be. He fell to his knees and stared in shock. Good job, Latios, return, Ash called and returned Latios to his Pokeball. Ash stared down at the 4 down Pokemon and gave a small apology to them in his head, and then he stared at the shocked form of Sid before closing his eyes and walking off. That kid still has a lot to learn if he ever wants a legendary, Ash thought silently. Sid pounded his fists on the ground and looked up and glared at the retreating form of Ash. This isn't over, he growled silently. From in the crowd there were a few people staring at Sid and seemed to form grins on their faces. Ash continued on until he came to a video phone and he dialed the number to Professor Birch's lab. An assistant answered the phone. Hello, the assistant said. Hello, I'm Ash Ketchum from Pallet Town, Ash introduced. Is Professor Birch around? I'm afraid that Professor Birch is out doing field work right now, but I'm sure I can help you with whatever you need, the assistant said in a friendly voice. Well, I need some direction to the lab, Ash said. I need to register for the Hone League. Okay, the assistant said. Well, from where you are now, you're not far from the lab. Just take the hill to your right and follow the path for about 3 blocks and you should see the lab in plain sight. Alright, thank you, Ash said and hung up. Well, Pikachu, let's go. Pikachu said as Ash took off towards the hill that led to Professor Birch's lab. Scene cut. On another path there was a young girl riding on her bike towards Professor Birch's laboratory in Littleroo Town. She was about average height for her age, wearing skin-tight black biker shorts, black socks and red shoes. She had on a red short-sleeved shirt and a red bandana on her head. She had brown hair and blue eyes. Enter first-person POV. My name is May Maple. I'm 10 years old and I'm on a way to see my dad's friend Professor Birch to begin my Pokemon journey, I thought with a smile. I continued to ride along on my bike with a smile on my face until I heard a ghostly moan. I turned to my side to see a Duskull by my side. My eyes bug out and I scream as the Pokemon startled me. I lost my balance and crashed right into a tree. Ow, I mumble. I get up and continue my ride with my mood going a bit sour. To be honest, I don't even like Pokémon that much. I stop my bike at the end of a cliff and gaze out towards Little Aru town as a ferry comes into dock. My mood brightens and I smile brightly, but the traveling. I just love it, I said brightly. And first Piran POV. Scene cut. Ash had just rounded a corner and saw a building sitting on the side of the hill. That must be Professor Birch's lab, Ash said excitedly. Come on Pikachu, we're almost there, Ash said excitedly. Ash continued on towards the lab when he heard a scream. Pikachu, did you hear that? Pikachu nodded. Let's go check it out, Ash said. They began to set out towards the source of the scream. Ash rounded a tree and came to a slope, and at the bottom he saw a young girl being surrounded by a bunch of Mightyena. The girl's bike was torn apart and she was cornered against the cliff. That girl's in trouble, Ash said, stating the obvious, we've got to save her. May whimpered from her position on the ground. She was almost to Professor Birch's lab when her tire hit a pothole and she lost control and slid down a slope. She landed hard on her butt and landed on something soft that whined loudly. When she regained her bearings, she saw a small scratched-up Poochyena along with two angry parents Mightyena. May was nervous and tired to apologize while shielding behind her bike, but the two Mightyena wouldn't listen and began tearing it to shreds. Now she was defenseless and at the mercy of two angry Mightyena. Ash then landed in front of the frightened May, surprising her and the Mightyena. Pikachu, check on her, make sure she's okay. Pikachu nodded and hopped off of Ash's shoulder and went up to the shaking May. Pikachu said. May looked at the little yellow mouse who gave her an innocent look. May smiled slightly. I'm okay, she said. Pikachu gave a chew, with a smile making May giggle slightly. Ash, meanwhile, crouched down in front of the growling Mightyena and stared into their eyes, showing no fear. That was how you got them to calm down, is by showing no fear. Eventually the Mightyena stopped growling and picked up their cub before walking off. Ash got back up and turned to May. Hey, are you okay? Ash asked, sticking a hand out. May took his hand and he pulled her up. Yeah, I'm okay, though I can't say the same for my bike, she moaned at the end, looking at the tattered remains of her bike. Oh, I'm May Maple, by the way. I'm Ash Ketchum, Ash introduced. What are you doing all the way out here anyway? I was heading for Professor Birch's laboratory before my bike hit a pothole and I ended up flying down here, May answered. What a coincidence, Ash said. I'm on my way to Professor Birch's lab as well, Ash said. I'm going to be registering for the Hone League. What about you? Oh, I'm getting my first Pokémon, May said as they both climbed back up the slope. Your first Pokémon, Ash said, excited. You must be psyched. Yeah, psyched, May giggled nervously. Yeah, right, she thought silently. Soon they both got up to the lab and Ash knocked on the door. Hello, a lab assistant answered the door. Oh, May, I assume you're here for your first Pokémon. May nodded, and Ash, if I remember correctly. Ash also nodded. Excellent, Professor Birch has just returned and is waiting for the both of you. The three of them walked through the door and into the back to see a large man with brown hair and beard wearing a lab coat was jotting down notes. Professor Birch, they're here. Professor Birch looked up. Ah, yes, of course. He got up and walked up to the two trainers. My, May, you certainly have grown since the last time I saw you. May blushed slightly. Nice to see you too, Professor Birch. And you are? Professor Birch asked. Ash Ketchum, Professor Birch, Ash said. Professor Birch's reaction was quite hilarious as his eyes widened and he spoke in a special awe-filled tone. You mean the Ash Ketchum? Yeah, Ash said slowly. My goodness, Professor Birch gushed out. I heard all about you from Professor Oak during the Silver Conference, but I wasn't able to catch any of your battles. Tell me, young man, are you really in possession of the legendary Latios and Latias? All attention was on Ash. Yes, I am, Ash admitted. My boy, you must let me take a quick look at them before you leave, Professor Birch said. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Yeah, sure, Ash said. Professor, May said softly. Oh yeah, Professor Birch said. Right this way. Professor Birch led them away towards the back room where there were 3 Pokeballs on a table. Alright May, inside these Pokeball are one of 3 starter Pokemon. Your choices are a Trico. Out came a green lizard Pokemon with a large tail. Wow, cool, Ash said in awe. This one's a grass type, right? Professor Birch nodded. That's correct, Ash. It looks weird, May said, a little creeped. It's not weird, Ash said. Professor Birch pulled out the second Pokeball, and next is Mudkip. Out came a little blue Pokemon with orange cheeks and a black top. Cool, a water type, right? Ash asked. Correct again, Professor Birch said. You're really perceptive, Ash. May looked uncertain before shaking her head. And last, but not least, is the fire type Torchic. Out came a small orange chick type Pokemon with a cute chirp. It looks cute, May said smiling. I'll take it. She bent down and picked up the cute little Torchic. Hello Torchic. Torchic chirped happily and nuzzled itself against May's cheek, making her laugh. Well, I'm glad you got your first Pokemon, Professor Birch said. Now Ash, what did you come here for? I came here to register for the Hone League, Ash said. Alright, Professor Birch said. Just hand me your Pokédex and I'll get it all done for you. Ash handed over his Pokédex and Professor Birch typed some things on the computer. Alright, done. You're all set up and registered for the Hone League. Awesome, thanks Professor Birch, Ash thanked. Now I don't mean to be pushy, but can I please see your 2 Pokemon? Professor Birch asked. Ash laughed and nodded. Alright, but we better do it outside, Ash said. As they walked outside, May turned to Professor Birch. What exactly are the 2 Pokemon you're so interested in, Professor? Professor Birch turned to May with a serious look on his face. The 2 Pokemon in his possession that I want to see are known as the 2 legendary Ian Dragon duo Latios and Latias. They are very legendary Pokemon, being very powerful and very rare. Most humans are lucky to see one, but for someone to be in possession of both of them is unheard of. Wow, May said, impressed, and looked back at Ash. Soon they got outside into the open area. Alright, Latias, come on out, Ash called. Out came the 2 Ian dragons with double loud cries and coos. They came back down in front of Ash and floated by him. Latias nuzzled Ash's face, cooing happily, while Latios eyes Professor Birch and May. It's okay Latios, Ash said, noticing Latia's suspicious look. They're friends. Professor Birch just wanted to take a quick look at you two. Latios nodded slightly and relaxed. I never thought I'd see the both of them, Professor Birch said in an odd voice. He went forward and examined both of them without touching them. Magnificent, amazing, he kept mumbling. They're beautiful, May said softly, staring at the 2 dragons. Latias heard May and flew over to her and cooed. May looked startled before smiling at Latias. Latias cooed again and nuzzled May's face. May laughed and petted Latias softly on the head. Latios fully relaxed now, seeing his sister trust the girl. Professor Birch finished his quick inspection. Well Ash, I must say that you do a fine job in taking care of your Pokemon. These 2 are in great condition. Thanks Professor Birch, Ash said. Well, you 2 should get going, Professor Birch said. The nearest town is Petalburg City. May, you live in Petalburg City, why don't you and Ash travel together? That sounds good, Ash said. It's always better traveling with friends than being alone. Yeah, May agreed with a smile. Then she suddenly got a downed expression. But my bike's gone and by walking distance we won't get there until late evening. That won't be a problem, Ash said, turning to Latios. Latios nodded and lowered himself. Ash hopped on top of Latia's back. You don't mind flying, do you, May? It's like walking, only 20x faster, Ash said, grinning cheekily. Sure, May said a little nervously. Ash offered her his hand and she took it. Ash helped her up on top of Latios and Latios floated higher off the ground and didn't have any trouble with both of them on top of him, since the both of them were surprisingly light. Bye Professor Birch, Ash said, waving. May waved back as well. Bye you too, Professor Birch waved. Good luck on your journeys. Hold on tight, May, Ash said. May put her arms around Ash's waist and Latios took to the sky. May gasped and gripped Ash almost painfully, but soon she relaxed and looked down at all the sights. Latios flew next to them, cooing happily and enjoying the sights. May smiled as she watched Latios twirl in midair. Ash smiled as he enjoyed the sights that flying brought. Do you travel like this a lot? May asked over the wind. Sometimes, Ash answered. Mostly I like walking around, but every now and then I let Latios out to stretch his wings. Usually Latios comes out as well to fly alongside him. Are they, May asked, blushing slightly. No, Ash said quickly, they're siblings. Oh sorry, May apologized. She turned back to the sights below. Flying is awesome. I'm seeing things I've never seen before. Flying is awesome, Ash said. Hey look, Ash said, pointing out. May turned and looked, and they saw a city that was shrouded in quite a bit of trees. It's Petalburg City. Latios, let's go in for a landing. Latios nodded and flew down towards the ground. Ash hopped off once they got to the ground, and he helped May off. I better put you two back in your Pokeballs. We don't want another incident like back in Little Aroo Town. What happened in Little Aroo Town? Latios asked her brother in Pokespech. I'll tell you later, sis, Latios responded in Pokespech. Ash recalled both Pokemon back to their Pokeballs. Now I got to get to the Petalburg gym, Ash said, excited, and took off down the hill. Slow down, Ash, May sighed and chased after him. May eventually caught up to Ash in a small park. Calm down, Ash, the gym's not going anywhere. Sorry, Ash said sheepishly. Petalburg gym leader is like. This is my first gym here in the home league, and I guess I'm a little over-exited. I wonder what the. I'm sure he's nice, May said. What do you know the gym leader, May? Ash asked, surprised. May looked nervous. No. Well, the word on the street is that he's very nice, very strong, and of course very handsome, she said happily. Sounds like you know him pretty well, Ash commented. No, I just wish I did, May said. I got an idea, Ash said, standing up. Why don't you come with me and we can meet him together? That sounds nice and all, but I can't, May said, getting up and walking towards the exit. Why not? Ash asked, confused. I've just got some things to do, May said, smiling. See you later, Ash, she gave a wink before disappearing around a corner. Pikachu waved goodbye happily while Ash just looked confused. Yeah, okay, later. Soon, after asking a few people, Ash found the Petalburg gym. Alright, the Petalburg gym. Are you ready, Pikachu? Let's give it our best shot. Pikachu agreed. Ash walked inside of the gym, and after crossing a hallway, Ash found the battle area. Hello, I'm Ash, I'm from Pallet, I'd like a battle. No one answered, in fact no one was in the room. Hello, is anyone here? Could you please keep it down? Asked a child's voice from behind Ash. Ash turned to see a small boy about 7 years old wearing a green shirt, brown shorts, black shoes, had black hair and big glasses, carrying a book. I'm in the middle of watching a match of the Silver Conference. Oh sorry kid, Ash said sheepishly. The kid opened his eyes and took a look at Ash. Wow, it's really you. The kid said in an excited voice. Yeah, but how do you know me? Ash asked, surprised at the kid's outburst. You're Ash Ketchum, the champion of the Johto League Silver Conference, the kid said in an odd voice. I can't believe I'm actually seeing you right now. Oh wow. Then the kid took notice of the little mouse by Ash's leg, and that's your Pikachu. The kid picked up Pikachu. Hi there, Pikachu, my name's Max. Max turned back to Ash. I watched all of your battles at the Silver Conference and I've been going over them ever since. Wow, was all Ash could say. My favorite battle had to be the battle you had with Harrison and his Blaziken, Max continued in an odd voice. It was awesome. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. Both Harrison's Blaziken and your Latios kept taking one attack after another, and both of them just kept getting back up for more. But in the end Blaziken took a little more damage, giving you the win. Yeah, Harrison was a tough opponent, Ash said. Hey, do you know where the gym leader is? I came here to have a battle. Max turned around and got a devilish smirk on his face. That's me. Ash looked surprised. Max turned back around and struck a pose. Yep, the Petalburg's gym leader is yours truly. Silence filled the area for a few seconds. Yeah, sure, Ash said sarcastically. Max threw a little comical fit. I am. What you think I'm not good enough? Ash raised his hands in mock surrender. Hey, take it easy, Max. Okay, I believe you, so what are the Petalburg gym rules? According to the official Petalburg gym rules, all battle will be 3-on-3, Max said, taking the spot in a square on the other side of the field. 3-on-3, Ash contemplated. Well, that works out for me, but should I use Darkrai? I don't want to hurt Max's Pokémon. Well, show your Pokémon, Max said. Hey, wait, Ash called, stepping out of the box. As the gym leader, you should be showing your Pokémon first. As gym leader, I outrank you, so you have the honor, Max said, also stepping out of his box. No deal, Max, you go first, Ash said. No, you go first, Max argued as they both pressed their foreheads together and growled at each other. Hi, Max, what's going on? A familiar feminine voice asked. Ash and Max turned with their faces pressed together to see May outside the window. Oh, hi there, sis, Max said. Your sister, Ash said, shocked. Well, who have we here? Said a man coming out next to May on her left. Hello, a woman said, appearing on May's right. Wait, who are you guys? Ash asked. Next to Ash, Max chuckled nervously. A minute later, they were all sitting down inside the gym. Ash, I would like to introduce you to my mother and father, May said, indicating to the two adults. Pleased to meet you, I'm Norman, the man said. And I'm Caroline, the woman said. And this is my little brother Max, May introduced. Yeah, we've met, Ash said in a slightly sour voice. You see, my dad is the real leader of the Petalburg gym here, Max said. Norman nodded with a smile on his face. So the Petalburg gym is where you come from, May? Ash asked May. Oh yeah, well, May said nervously. We really appreciate you bringing May home, Ash, Caroline said, smiling at Ash. Oh well, thank you, but really I didn't do much of anything, Ash said, sheepishly waving his hands about. Mom, Dad, Max began, indicating to Ash. This is Ash Ketchum, he won the Johto League Silver Conference. That is impressive, Ash, Norman said. And at your age too. Ash blushed slightly. By the way, May, where's your bike? Caroline asked. May's sweat dropped. Well, on my way to Professor Birch's lab, I ran into a pothole and fell down a slope, and I landed on a Puccina. The two parents of the Pokémon destroyed my bike. Oh my, Caroline said, are you okay? Oh, I'm fine, May said. Actually, it was Ash here who lured the mighty Ana away. Thank you, Ash, for making sure May was okay, Caroline said. Ash chuckled sheepishly. No problem, Caroline. So May, tell us what Pokémon you got from Professor Birch, Norman said. Oh yeah, May, what did you get? Max asked excitedly. You'll see, May said, pulling out a Pokeball. Torchic, come on out. In a flash, the small little chick Pokémon appeared in a chirp. Max looked disappointed. What? Why'd you pick that? If it were me, I definitely would have picked a Trico. Torchic felt offended, so it stated to peck Max all over the place. May tried to get Torchic to stop while Ash tried not to laugh. I think Torchic is an excellent choice, May, Norman said. Really? May asked. Most defiantly, and May, it's as cute as a button, Caroline said. Man, I 50 wish I could have my own Pokémon, Max moaned, recovering from the pecks. I'd just love to have a Trico. That Torchic pecking Max again, and this time Ash couldn't repress a snort. Ash, why don't you join us for lunch? Caroline said. You must be starving. Ash felt his stomach rumble, and he was never one to turn down food, so he agreed almost instantly. Now Ash was enjoying a nice lunch with May's family. Caroline was a great cook, almost as good as his mother. Caroline took a sip of her drink. So Ash, May tells me you've been traveling for a long time. Ash nodded. Yeah, almost 2 years now. I've seen a lot of different places. That's so cool, Max said in jealousy. I wish I could go around traveling. And have you been traveling all alone? Caroline asked. Actually, until recently I've been traveling around with some of my best friends and Pikachu, of course, Ash said. Pikachu smiled. I wish I could go traveling around with some of my best friends, Max moaned out. Dad, Ash would like a battle with you, May said. If that's okay, Ash said. Norman nodded. It's fine. So how many badges have you earned so far? This'll be the first one, Ash said confidently. So you're just getting started? Norman asked. Ash nodded. What are the Petalburg gym rules? Ash asked. I already told you it's a 3-on-3 elimination match, Max said. Is that true? Ash asked. Norman nodded. Awesome, I'm ready whenever you are. Right after lunch we'll battle, Norman said. Lunch had ended quickly and now they were all inside the main gym battle area ready to begin the match. Ash and Norman were on their separate sides on the field while Caroline, May and Max were on an available bench on the side. Now we'll get to see just how good Ash really is, Caroline commented. Okay Vigoroth, I choose you, Normal called, sending out a massive ape-shaped Pokémon with sharp claws, long arms and a tuft of red hair on its head shaped like a flame. A Vigoroth, Ash commented, pulling out his Pokédex. The mechanical voice spoke, Vigoroth, the wild monkey Pokémon. Vigoroth is only comfortable going berserk, will destroy anything in its path by spinning both arms and goes more berserk when done. Vigoroth raised its sharp claws and gave a loud roar. Dad's Vigoroth is raring to go, Max said, excited. Ash turned to Pikachu. Sorry Pikachu, but you'll have to sit this one out. Pikachu nodded and went off to the side and sat next to May. Alright Latios, I choose you, Ash called. Out came Latios in a flash and Latios hovered in front of Ash. Wow, an actual Latios, Max said with his eyes sparkling. I'm actually seeing a rare Pokémon in the flesh. Well Ash, there's more to you than meets the eye, Norman commented, amazed at seeing Latios, but so am I. Vigoroth used Scratch Attack. Vigoroth charged forward at a really fast pace towards Latios with its claws glimmering. Latios used Dragon Pulse, Ash called. Latios opened his mouth and launched a massive Dragon Pulse from its mouth, and Vigoroth was caught in the blast and launched back and smashed hard against the wall. Vigoroth, are you okay? Norman called. Vigoroth jumped back up and with a roar landed back in the arena. Alright Vigoroth, use Hyper Beam. Vigoroth roared and opened its mouth, charged a Hyper Beam and launched it at Latios. Latios, dodge it, Ash called. Latios flew up into the air, but then Vigoroth appeared next to Latios and rammed directly into Latios. That Vigoroth is fast, Ash thought. Don't give in, Latios used Dragon Claw. Latios' claws glowed and Latios charged at Vigoroth. Vigoroth, counter it with your Scratch Attack, Normal called. Vigoroth roared and charged at Latios, and now both of them were clashing claws together with neither one giving an inch. Wow, none of them are giving an inch, May said, impressed. At first I didn't think they stood a chance against Dad's Vigoroth, but Ash is battling greatly, Caroline commented. Ash is really good, Max said excitedly. He always loved Pokémon battles and got excited whenever his dad battled, but right now he was just too excited to be seeing a legendary battle. Latios used Steel Wing, Ash called. Latios' wing glowed and then smashed his wing directly into Vigoroth and launched it back. Vigoroth landed hard on the ground with a groan. Outside, 4 people were peering indiscreetly and watching the battle. Maybe we should nab that Vigoroth instead of Pikachu, a female voice said. Its natural nastiness could be great for Team Rocket. You can grab whatever you want as long as I get that, Latios, a young voice said. Yeah, whatever kid, said a nasally voice. You just stick to the plan and you can have that, Latios. Well, let's get to it, said the 4th voice, which was much deeper than the other 3. The 4 voices then snickered evilly. Vigoroth used Tackle Attack, Norman called. Vigoroth charged forward towards Latios, intent on delivering damage. Latios, Dragon Rage now, Ash called. Latios opened its mouth again and formed a yellow energy ball and fired at Vigoroth. The attack hit Vigoroth head-on and Vigoroth was sent flying back into the wall. The wall cracked and Vigoroth fell to the ground. Caroline, May and Max watched with opened mouths as Vigoroth didn't get up. Alright Latios, good job, Ash called. Latios gave a small coo in response and looked ready for the next battle. Well Ash, that was impressive, Norman said. Your Latios is indeed very strong. Thanks Norman, Ash said, smiling. Then the wall blew open, sanding dust and debris all around the room. What the heck, Ash shouted. What's going on, May asked, worried. Prepare for trouble from a hole in the wall, a woman said. Make it double, you're in for a brawl, a male voice said. To protect the world from devastation. To unite all people within our nation. To denounce the evils of truth and love. To extend our reach to the stars above. Jessie, the female said, revealing herself in the Team Rocket female outfit and her long red hair. James, the male said, revealing himself in the male Team Rocket outfit with his shoulder-length blue hair. Team Rocket blasts off at the speed of light. Jessie finished. Surrender now or prepare to fight. James finished. Meowth, that's right, said the Meowth, appearing in between them. Just to let everyone know, I died a little inside while typing this. To this day it still hurts. Oh, not you guys again, Ash moaned. I thought I lost you guys back in Johto. Not quite, twerp, Jessie said with a smirk. Friends of your Ash? Caroline asked. No, Ash said dryly. They're known as Team Rocket. I've never heard of them, Norman said, confused. They're Pokémon thieves, Ash said, shocking them. They're active everywhere in the Kanto and Johto regions. They're top-notch Pokémon thieves that are wanted in every city. The twerp thinks we're top-notch. Oh, happy day, James said, teary-eyed. Though these three are just people who can't take a hint and keep following me, Ash ended with a smirk, making all three of them face fault. Jessie got up with a twitch in her eye. That's it, twerp, you're gonna get it now. Arbok, go. Out came a massive King Cobra-shaped Pokémon. Arbok, use Poison Sting. Arbok hissed and fired off many purple needles from its mouth. Latios, watch out, Ash called. Latios flew up and avoided the Poison Sting attack. Go Weezing, James called, sending out a meteor-shaped Pokémon that was connected with two heads. Use Smoke Screen now. Weezing blew out a massive smoke screen from its mouth. It spread all around the room. Ash and the others began coughing from the smoke. Hold your breath, everyone, Normal called out. Now we'll be taking Pikachu and Vigoroth with us, Jessie called out triumphantly. That's what you think, Ash muttered. Pikachu, use Thunderbolt at full power. Pikachu's cheeks sparkled, and with a loud cry Pikachu launched a massive thunderbolt. A loud cry met Ash's ears and he recognized it immediately. Oh no, Max, you didn't get hit, did you? Max was on the ground, slightly scorched and twitching. Well, it's one thing to watch Pikachu's thunderbolt on TV, but a whole new thing to feel it firsthand. Wow, got to say it's impressive. Max lied on his back and blew out a plume of smoke. Soon the smoke screen cleared and Team Rocket was nowhere in sight. Hey, they're gone, May said. My Vigoroth is here safe and sound, Norman said. Vigoroth smiled next to Norman. So is my Pikachu, Ash commented. Ash looked around for a second before his eyes widened. Latios. My Latios is gone. So is my Torchic, May cried out. I only let Torchic out so it could watch the match and now it's gone. They all ran outside to see Team Rocket floating away in a balloon, but Ash recognized the fourth person in the balloon as Sid and he was smiling nastily. Ash then noticed that Latios was trapped inside of some kind of special barrier that was draining his strength. Sid, Ash roared. Sid merely smirked nastily. I told you I would have all legendary Pokémon in every region one way or another. Thanks for the Latios, sucker, Sid laughed evilly as the balloon faded from sight. Ash growled loudly and clenched his fist in anger. Oh, now what do I do? May said, falling to her knees. I just got that Torchic. Don't worry about a thing, May, Ash said. I'll get your Torchic back, I promise. No offense, but how are you gonna do that when they're miles ahead of you? Max asked. Ash smirked and pulled out another Pokeball. Latios isn't my only legendary, remember? Latias, come on out, Ash said, sending out the female version of the Ian duo. Latias cooed as she appeared. Wow, a Latias as well, Max said. It's one thing to see Latias on TV but another to see Latias in real life. I'm impressed again. Latias blushed slightly and cooed happily, flying in circles and breaking a lot of the tension in the air. Latias, Ash said in a completely serious voice, making Latias stop. I'm sorry to say, but Latios has been kidnapped and we need to find him. Latias looked shocked before she screeched out her response. I know, but don't worry, we'll get him back. So Ash, how are you going to find them? Norman asked. I got that covered, Ash said. Latias, use foresight on me. Laisha's eyes glowed and she stared directly at Ash. Ash's eyes glowed a little brighter for a few seconds before stopping. Alright Latias, try and find Latios and we'll be following you shortly. Latias nodded and flew off in the direction Team Rocket and Sid went. That was foresight, right? Max asked. Then that means that you and Latias can share your sight with each other, right? Ash nodded. I see, Norman said. That way when Latias finds them you'll see where they are and you'll be able to find them easily. That's very clever, Caroline commented. Latias flew through the air and turned invisible and began looking around. After flying and looking around for a couple minutes she spotted the Team Rocket balloon and she went downward and began listening in. Jessie was laughing, nabbing that Pikachu was easy. We may have not gotten the Vigoroth, but there's always next time. Oh yes, quite, James agreed. It may have taken almost 2 years, but now the Pikachu will be going to the boss, Meowth said rather nastily. Yes, congrats, Sid said in a dry voice. Then Latias took notice of Latios lying inside of a psychic barrier looking tired and in slight pain. Latias growled slightly to herself, there was no way she'd let there be a repeat of the Altomari incident. Latias launched her foresight back towards Ash to let them know where Latios was. Ash's eyes glowed a deep blue for a second before turning back to their original brown. I know where they are, Ash said, let's go. All of them took off and followed Ash into the nearby forests. After passing through a few trees they saw the balloon and a caged Latios. Latios, Ash whispered. Ash felt a small nudge next to him and knew Latias was there too. Alright, that's them all right. They saw Torchic in a smaller cage looking teary-eyed. There's my Torchic, May said and rushed forward. Torchic, Max called going with May. Wait guys, stop, there my bee. Ash stopped when they both fell through a disguised hole in the ground, a trap, he finished. Hold on, I'm coming, Norman called going after them. I'm coming too, Caroline said following her husband. Wait there my bee. Ash stopped when Norman and Caroline fell down another hole. Ash smacked his forehead slightly, another trap. Jessie, James, Meowth and Sid all appeared from behind the balloon basket laughing at them. 4 down and 1 twerp to go, Jessie said. I don't have any business with you 3 today, Ash said in a surprisingly cold voice. He turned his glare to Sid, give me back my Latios. Sid took on a thoughtful pose for a second, no I don't think I will. Sorry, but Latios is mine now whether he likes it or not. Well I don't think Latia's sister likes that idea, Ash smirked. Latias, reveal yourself and save Latios with your Dragon Rush. Latias reappeared in a shower of sparkles and sped towards the psychic barrier and broke it open freeing Latios. Sid stared in shock, You have a Latias oh. Yeah I do, Ash said. Latias return. Thanks Ash was Latias' response to Ash telepathically before he and his sister were enveloped in red light and put back in the Pokeball. No problem, Ash whispered to the ball and Ash ran back to the hole to help May and Max out. No I've come so close I won't lose now, Sid shouted in rage. Blaziken go. Blaziken appeared in a flash and charged at them. Take care of Blaziken Pikachu, Ash said. Pikachu nodded and went to do battle with Blaziken. Come on guys, grab my hand, I'll help you out. Soon Ash managed to pull them out of the hole. Hey Norman, are you guys okay? Norman and Caroline managed to climb out of their hole. Yeah, we're fine. After getting out, Norman glared at Team Rocket. How dare you steal someone else's Pokémon, much less my little girl's first Pokémon. Looks like a big bad mad dad, Jessie said smirking. We can't have that. Arbok, let's go. Out came the massive King Cobra snake with a hiss. I don't think so, Norman said pulling out a Pokeball. Vigoroth, let's go, Norman called sending out the massive ape Pokémon. Use Scratch Attack. Vigoroth charged forward and dealt damage to Arbok with its Scratch Attack. While the battle was going on, Max snuck up to Torchic's cage. Hey Torchic, don't worry, I'm gonna get you out of here. Torchic chirped happily from inside the cage. Max picked up the cage and brought it over to a happy May. You're welcome sis, Max said sighting the cage down. Thanks Max, you're the best, May said unlocking the cage and pulling Torchic out. Oh my little Torchic, I'm glad you're okay, May said hugging the little Pokemon tightly. Back at the battle, Pikachu and Vigoroth were both knocked away from Blaziken and Arbok. Pikachu, Ash called picking Pikachu up. Ash grit his teeth as he glared out, but then his eyes widened. That's it, Ash thought. Norman called back Vigoroth. I've got an idea, Ash called. Are you sure? Norman called uncertain. Ash nodded. All right, Vigoroth return. Vigoroth returned to the Pokeball in a flash. What do you think you're planning, twerp? Jessie said cockily. Don't even bother sending back out those dragons, James said in an equally cocky voice. We've got more barriers to capture them in. Actually go on and send them out, Sid said. It'll save me the trouble of taking them from you the hard way. Ash smirked. Unlucky for you, the Pokemon I'm sending out is not a psychic or a dragon type, Ash said, pulling out another Pokeball. Darkrai, I choose you. The pitch-black Pokemon appeared in a flash and immediately set out a massive chilling aura, making all but Ash shiver. What the heck is that? James asked, shivering. Sid's eyes widened in anger. A Darkrai, you have 3 legendary Pokemon. Ash smirked again. Oh yeah, and right now you're gonna pay for hurting them. Blaziken, use Fire Punch, Sid shouted. Blaziken's fist ignited with flames and charged forward. Arbok, use Headbutt, Jessie ordered. Arbok hissed again and charged forward next to Blaziken, intent on doing damage. Darkrai, use Dark Void, Ash called out calmly. Darkrai held up its hand and launched 2 balls of black energy at Blaziken and Arbok. Both of them hit and both Pokemon collapsed to the ground fast asleep. What? Jessie and Sid shouted, shocked. Good, now blow them all away with your Dark Pulse, Ash said. Darkrai formed another beam in its hand and launched at all of them. The beam hit and all 4 of the bad guys, plus their Pokemon, were launched into the skies. Team Rockets blasting off again, came the usual reply from the 3. They all disappeared into the sky until they became nothing but a twinkle. The scene now pans to them all outside the gym. Well, it looks like our battle will have to wait until after my gym is repaired, Norman said with a hint of regret. That's okay, Ash said. I'll be back soon and we'll have our battle then, Norman. Ash and Norman shook hands, and that's a day I'll be looking forward to. I guess it's time for the 2 of you to get going, Caroline said. Are you sure you have everything, May? Don't worry, Mom, May said. Max then popped up next to them and said to May, since you don't know anything about Pokemon, I should go too. He had on a knapsack and everything. Ash and May stared surprised. Norman nodded. Your brother does know a lot about Pokemon and will be a very big help to you. And a lot less worry for me, Caroline said. Ash, it wouldn't be too much of a bother if Max traveling along with you and May, Norman asked. Sure, no problem, Ash said. Thank you, Ash, May said, smiling. This is gonna be awesome, Max cheered excitedly. I have something for the 2 of you, Norman said, holding out 2 small cases, a badge case to hold all of your winning badges. Ash took the case. Thanks a lot, Norman. May took the case and gave a small thank you. Let's do our best, May. Oh yeah, May said, smiling nervously. And son, this is for you, Norman said, handing Max a small yellow device. For me? Wow, Max said, taking it. What is it? Ash asked as Max turned it on and out popped a screen. It's a Pokémon, Max said, excited. I've been wanting one forever. Thanks, Dad. With one of those you'll always know where you are, Norman said. I suggest you travel to the nearest gym, and that's located in Rustboro City. Right, May and Ash said. Then they began walking off to catch up with Max, who was already ahead of them, looking at his Pokémon and fiddling with it. Bye, they both called, waving to them. Do your best, Norman called out. We will, May called back. Bye. Hurry up, you slowpokes, Max called out. We're coming, Ash called. They both hurried up and caught up with Max quickly. Now gaining 2 new friends and traveling companions, Ash sets his sights on Rustboro City for his first home gym badge. The next day was bright and sunny, and we find the 3 of them traveling through Petalburg Forest towards Rustboro City. It was late afternoon right now, and they had been walking for a few hours now, and May was already looking tired. Max was looking through his binoculars trying to spot a Pokémon, while Ash was walking along not tired at all and full of energy. Any chance we'll be stopping for lunch soon? May asked Ash. But I haven't spotted a single Pokémon yet, Max complained. Ash looked at Max confused. Max, you can't just look up and expect to see Pokémon, Ash exclaimed. It doesn't work that way. But I always heard that Petalburg Forest was full of Pokémon, Max said. I wonder if we're in the wrong part of the woods. There was not a single Pokémon to be spotted in the mass of trees and bushes. May grabbed Ash's arm, bringing his attention back to her. Ash, let's stop for lunch. Max grabbed Ash's other arm. No, let's go a different way. May tugged. No, lunch first, May said. Max tugged back. No, Pokémon first. Lunch, May said. Pokémon, Max said. This little argument and tugging went back and forth, and Ash could feel his shoulders about to be popped out of place. Ash wrenched his arms free. Stop talking, both of you, he ended up shouting. Composing himself, he spoke again in a normal voice. Okay, we'll stop for a quick lunch and then we'll look for Pokémon. Is that okay? Alright, they both said, smiling. They stopped by a bunch of rocks. Okay, lunch time, Ash said, taking his backpack off. We needed a break anyway. Well, I guess I was getting hungry, Max admitted sheepishly. I'm so hungry I could eat a Tauros, May said, rubbing her stomach slightly. We'll eat soon, but first we should feed our Pokémon, Ash said. That's true, May said and grabbed a Pokeball. Torchic, come on out. Torchic appeared in a flash with a small chirp. Latios, Latias, Darkrai, come on out, Ash said, and his 3 legendaries also appeared in a flash. Ash dug in his backpack again and pulled out specific canisters of Pokémon food. He poured food for all of his Pokémon while May took care of her Torchic. Once all the Pokémon were eating, Ash dug in his backpack again. He pulled out 3 sandwiches and passed them around. Alright, let's eat. Humans and Pokémon began chowing down, enjoying themselves. While eating, Max couldn't help but stare at Ash's legendaries. Hey Ash, Max asked, getting Ash's attention. Where exactly did you catch these 3? If I recall, both Latios and Latias are native to Hoenn and Darkrai is a Sinnoh legendary. How'd you do it? Ash stopped eating for a second and got a thoughtful look on his face. Latios looked up from his meal and stared at Ash. Ash looked back and Latios gave a small coo before going back to eating. Ash sighed. Well, it's a long story, but I guess we've got time. Have you 2 ever heard of the water city known as Altomari? May shook her head, but Max nodded. Yeah, it's said that there is some kind of special device that defends the city when powered up with some kind of special device. Is also best economically friendly city. Ash chuckled slightly. That's true, but there's more to it than that. Altomari was formed hundreds of years ago. The city was attacked by a massive tidal wave that threatened to wipe out the whole city. Living in the city was a Latios. Latios ended up giving his life to stop the tidal wave and become something known as the Soul Dew. By becoming the Soul Dew, Latios was the centerpiece for all of Altomari's water supply. Without the Soul Dew, then another tidal wave could flatten Altomari in minutes. How do you know all this? May asked, enthralled by the story. Because the Latios that sacrificed himself was their father, Ash said, turning to Latios and Latias, who were oblivious to the story going on right now. May and Max looked at the 2 Ian dragons, surprised. Their father, May repeated, shocked. Ash nodded. I visited Altomari before competing in the Johto League. I met these 2. They were guardians of the Soul Dew and I became friends with them. Unfortunately, 2 Team Rocket goons managed to get to the Soul Dew, steal it and capture Latios. Latias and I managed to free Latios and stop them, but the Soul Dew had been out of its pond for too long and was beginning to die, and a tidal wave began to head towards the city. Latios almost died to stop the tidal wave, but Latias, with my help, managed to save Latios from dying. In the end, Latios decided to come with me on my journey and Latias wanted to come along anyway. Both of them were silent. Wow, if this is the kind of adventures you go on, then I'm looking forward to the future, Max said, making them laugh. Now Darkrai is simpler to explain, Ash said. As I was heading back towards Pallet Town after the competition, Darkrai appeared before me. Back then Darkrai did not trust humans at all and wanted to battle me. The condition was that if Darkrai won, then I would have to release Latios and Latias, but if I won, then Darkrai would become my Pokémon. The rest you can figure out. Wow, May said, impressed. Yeah, Max said. How did you do it? Most trainers dedicate their lives to trying to find legendaries, but to actually catch one is an honor, but to have 3 is unheard of. Ash chuckled softly and rubbed the back of his head. That's actually a main reason that legendaries don't interact with humans. Most of them only want to capture them to show them off and be able to say that they've caught one. A legendary is said to only reveal themselves to those who have pure hearts. Lunch continued on and soon they were all finished with their lunch and Ash packed everything away. Well, we ought to get going, Ash said, recalling his Pokémon. Yeah, May said, recalling her Torchic. With a quick lunch in their stomachs and the story of Ash and his three legendaries dancing their way through May and Max's mind, the three of them continue on their journey towards Rustboro City for the site of Ash's first badge.
Hey guys, if you like this video, please do one thing, like it, share it with your close friends who love to watch Pokemon or any fanfic of anime which are related to specific genres. So please do that and turn on the bell icon for notification of these any other series which are still ongoing on channel. Thanks for watching.